Hey everyone, I've got some very, very interesting Stadia news for you today. Some of it is official, some of it is leaked, and some of it is so very, very leaked that I anticipate that they're going to plug that leak up and probably clean up all of the stuff that came out. Before we get started, do me a favor, and if you really like this show, then click on the like button, click on the subscribe button, and click on the bell, because that helps the YouTube algorithm let everybody else know that this is good stuff. And here's a little pro tip. If you hate this show, then click on the share button and send it to somebody that you despise, because maybe they'll hate it too. Either way, thank you guys for watching. Let's get started. Okay, let's get started with the official news. If you want to know about that unofficial news, stick around until the end of the video. We got an official new this week in Stadia. It comes to us over at the official community.stadia.com blog. And there's a bunch of really cool stuff in it. Number one, and this one is pretty surprising, is that they are giving yet another bonus to Pro subscribers. Usually what happens with Pro subscribers is we subscribe to Pro and we get a certain number of games every month. Sometimes it's one game, sometimes it's two games. This month it was 6 games. We'll talk about that in just a second. But you also get these discounts where, oh, this month this game is on sale for this much for Pro subscribers, and it's on sale for this much for non-Pro subscribers, and we save a bunch of money that way. Well, the problem with that is, what if it's a game that's on sale that you're not interested in? Okay, that seems like not the end of the world. Maybe you just don't take advantage of that particular thing. Well, this month they're giving us $10. That's right. For the cost of Pro, which is $10, they're straight up giving you $10 to spend in the Stadia store, which is really, really awesome. I think that that's fantastic, and it's a really great way to keep people with Stadia, is to say, hey, you keep subscribe to us and you're going to save money on games. We've already saved, I can't even count how much money. Okay, I could count it. I'm not going to. We've saved a bunch of money by being Pro subscribers so far. And I've had a lot of games that I probably wouldn't have played otherwise, but because we are getting this $10, that's something that we can now reinvest into yet another game on Stadia. And I think that that's just fantastic. Here's what they have to say about it on the official blog. If you are a current or new Stadia subscriber, or if you've ever been a Stadia Pro member, so that counts for even non-Pro members that used to be members, you'll get $10 off your next game purchase. If you haven't experienced Stadia Pro yet, you can sign up right now at stadia.com. All right, I want to talk about this for just a second. And this, I think, is really, really brilliant. And here's why. Right now, if I sign up for Stadia Pro, or let's say I just sign up for Stadia and I get my free month of Stadia Pro, and then that expires, I can no longer play any of those games on Stadia, because you have to be subscribed in order to play the Pro games, which I think is perfectly reasonable. By giving us this $10 off, it encourages us to buy a game. Now, could I turn around and buy a game that only costs $10? Absolutely. I could do that. I could also use this $10 towards a game that costs more than that, and that's fine. Whatever I end up buying, I will still have access to after Stadia Pro ends. And that is really, really important, because right now I feel like there's a lot of people out there who look at Stadia Pro as a requirement to using Stadia. And that's not necessarily the case. In fact, that's not the case at all. I don't even know why I said that's not necessarily the case. That is 100% not the case. You can simply have a Stadia account, buy a game, play said game. You can play it online. You can play it single player. You can play that game without ever being a Stadia Pro member. And this encourages people to understand that, because once their Pro subscription goes away, they're not going to take whatever games that you bought away from you. So you can simply just buy the game and play it. This is huge for communicating that idea that Pro is optional. And because of all of the the nonsense, clickbait craziness that has gone on with Stadia since it launched, I feel like there's a lot of people out there that believe that Google Stadia Pro is required. And that's just not the case. And this is going to help get rid of that. Speaking of Stadia Pro, they have also reminded us about the 5 games that we've got back on June 1st, which was Super Hot, Get Packed, Little Nightmares, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, and Panzer Dragoon Remake. They also said that Stadia Pro subscribers can claim these and a dozen more games for free by signing up over at stadia.com, which I think is fantastic. The next thing that they talked about is that we've got 1 month free trials for Stadia, and those back in April they gave us 2 free months, and then they told us a little bit ago that come June 3rd, you would, if you signed up after June 3rd, you would only get 1 free month, and so they're just reminding us of that as well. The next thing that they talked about is a whole bunch of Android devices are now officially supported by Stadia. The number of these devices are growing really, really quickly. Here's what they have to say. Play games on more OnePlus devices, including, as of June 11th, the OnePlus 5 and 5T, 6 and 6T, 7 Pro, 7 Pro 5G, 7T, 7T Pro, 7T Pro 5G, and that also includes the OnePlus phones that were compatible previously, which would be the OnePlus 8 and the OnePlus 8 Pro. And then they have a link that shows a whole list of other phones that are compatible with Google Stadia. I personally am still waiting for my iPhone to be compatible with Google Stadia. And I know people are going to say, Bill, how come you use iPhone and you don't use Android? Because I'm an iPhone guy. I've been an iPhone guy for a really long time. I've used both Android and iOS. I think that they're both fantastic operating systems. I don't think one is better than the other, but my entire family uses iOS. My iPad is obviously iOS, and that is probably my main computer is my iPad. So using a phone to be iOS as well makes a lot of sense for me. So I'm still waiting for iOS to be supported. But right now, there's a whole bunch of Android devices that are supported by Google Stadia. And guess what? Even if they're not supported by Google Stadia, if you have an Android device, because I just listed off a bunch of them, and if I didn't list off your Android device, well, chances are that it might still work just fine. It just hasn't been officially supported yet. So let me tell you exactly what that means. It says here on the press release, you can now choose to play games on Stadia with any Android phone that can install the Stadia app, including phones that aren't currently on our list of officially supported phones. While this feature is still in development and not every phone will work perfectly, you can now try out Stadia and play your favorite games on more screens than ever before. If you would like to be part of this experiment, visit the Stadia app, navigate to the Experiments tab in your settings menu, and choose Play on this device. Experiments are our way of testing out new features so we can get your feedback. So basically they're saying, look, we want you guys to test this stuff out, and the more people that test it, the better we'll understand which devices work and which ones don't. And that's a really good way of doing it, is letting everybody just try it out. And if it doesn't work, then hey, guess what? Then they can say this Stadia doesn't work on this device, but it definitely works on this device. Or maybe they can say, oh, look at this, it's not working on this device. Let's get that fixed, and then we can make it an officially supported device. Okay. Speaking of mobile, and this is probably one that a lot of people are going to be very, very excited for. Mobile touch controls have arrived. So what does that mean? It means that if I'm using my phone, obviously not this phone because this is an iPhone, but if I'm using this phone and I want to use this without a controller, I now can if this were an Android device. So basically that means you now have on-screen touch controls. And it says the first version of our mobile touch controls is now available to try today. As with all features on Stadia, we will continue to refine this feature over time. To access the touch controls, just select Try Touch Gamepad after launching a game without a controller connected. Touch controls are available for every game on Stadia. Now, I am on record having said many times that I am not really interested in playing a game on my phone with touchscreen controls, and I stand by that. However, and this is a big however, I can see how this would be useful even for me if iOS were a supported thing. Let's just pretend that I've got an Android phone for now. How could I use this? Well, for those of you who don't know, Elder Scrolls Online is coming on the 16th to Google Stadia. And I already have the game on PC. I already have the game on PS4, but that's beside the point. But on the PC, the Stadia server is the PC server, right? So there's other people who are playing Elder Scrolls Online on PC, and recently I've been getting a bunch of messages through Discord, link in the description down below, where people are like, hey, Bill, I want to join the Nerd Nest, which is the name of our guild in Elder Scrolls Online. And so I log into the game and I invite the person and everything's fine. So there's been a couple of times where I was, out doing something and somebody sent me a message, hey, can you invite me? And I got back to them, yeah, sure, next time I'm at a computer. This would be the perfect example for why I would think touch screen controls on a phone would be useful. I could simply boot up the game, invite somebody to the guild, close the game down. I could also take care of certain things that have to be done like in a timely manner in an MMO. Again, Elder Scrolls is the example that I will give you. Each day in Elder Scrolls Online, you want to make sure that you talk to the stable master. And this is to make your horse ride faster. And I went into a lot of detail about this in another video. I'm sure that I'll put a link in the description down below for you to check out. It was like a beginner's guide to Elder Scrolls Online. But every day you want to talk to this person, and then there's like a 20-hour cooldown. So what I could do is I could pull out my phone, talk to the stable master guy, put my phone away. I could pull up my phone, do some research, which is like a crafting thing that happens in Elder Scrolls Online. I could do some research real quick and then put my phone away. I'm not actually logging in to like do a dungeon or something like that. I'm logging in to take care of little mundane tasks, which MMOs are always filled with. I think that that's awesome, and I love that people are going to be able to do this now. There was also a discussion happening in our Discord recently where they were talking about, look, there's different ways that you might want to use a controller based on the social appropriateness of the situation that you're in. Like, maybe sometimes you want to be discreet that you're playing a game on your phone, and so you can pull out and just do some stuff on the touchscreen. Maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense for you to pull out the controller, the claw, which is like the little plastic attachment that lets you attach your phone to your Stadia controller. So maybe you don't want to pull out your controller and your claw, but you need to do something real quick. That's when this is perfect. And I'm excited for the people who are going to use this. Now, there is a segment of the population who this will be the only way that they play games. And I'm not part of that population because I am an old man. And there are young people out there who don't have the same hangups that I have when it comes to touch controls for a video game. I don't like touch controls for a video game. It feels unintuitive and clumsy. But for kids that grew up with an iPad or a phone in their face, and they're always using touch control stuff, they would probably be totally fine. And it's the same with people who were anti-controller when it came to mouse and keyboard stuff. Sure, you can probably be more precise with mouse and keyboard, but I know that there's a lot of people who play Fortnite and they only play on phones and stuff. So I think that this is going to be just fine for a lot of people. I just happen to be not one of them. All right, the last official announcement is right here at the bottom. It says, choose your resolution with this new Stadia feature. In keeping with our commitment in listening to community feedback, we're adding the ability to set your Stadia resolutions individually for each device you play on. Previously, resolutions were set through the Stadia app, and it was basically a blanket thing for your account. This is huge. Why is this huge? It's huge because I have a 4K screen in front of me. I have a 4K screen in the room across the hall from me. I have a 4K screen down in the living room. I also have a 1080p Chromebook in this house. And using 4K on that is just kind of dumb. So being able to grab that device and say, on this device, I only want 1080p. I think that's really big. However, this is not enough. What I still would like is to have this on a per game basis. Okay? Included this is great, but on top of this, I would also like it to be on a per game basis. And here's why. When I play Borderlands 3, I know that if I play at highest visual or best visual quality setting, that's a 4K setting and it's 30 frames per second. But if I play on the balance setting, I get 1080p, 60 frames per second, which is a better experience in my opinion. So I would like it if I could just say, hey, Borderlands, I just want you to play at 1080p, and these other games, I'll have them play at 4K. What would be even better than that is if instead of having that as a setting, just say, I always want to focus on higher frame rates when I can. So just give me the option to prefer higher frame rates to higher resolutions. And then you make the decision for me. I think that that would probably be the best solution, or just a per game basis, because maybe somebody doesn't care about the frames per second as much as they care about the resolution. Anyway, in order to change your resolution on a Chromecast Ultra device, they say open up the Stadia menu by pressing the Stadia button on your controller, choose Options, Performance, and then choose the maximum resolution that you would like to set for this device. It will take effect the next time that you play on your device. Very, very cool. I checked before I started recording this. I didn't have access to this feature yet. It is being rolled. All of the features are being rolled out over the next couple of days. So I'm sure that we'll see all of this stuff in the next couple of days. And probably by the time you're watching this, you may already have access to some of these features that I don't have access to right now. All right, that is all of the official stuff. Now I've got two unofficial things. One is leaked on, not really leaked, but it was posted on the ESRB that Creta has been rated T for teen. I'm anticipating that now that we know the rating for this, usually rating a game comes out happens a couple weeks before the game actually comes out. We know that Creta is a pro game, and so I am assuming that Creta will be a July 1st game. That will be one of the pro games that we get next month. July 1st seems like the perfect release date for Creta. It's been rated by the ESRB, and that makes a lot of sense. And then finally, the last piece of information that I think is very, very interesting comes to us on Twitter. Eddie Gomez found that you can find Gods and Monsters on Stadia. This is apparently a very, very early build, and it looks like Ubisoft pushed this by accident, but he was able to get this game for free. Now, I checked in the Stadia store, and I didn't see anything in there about this. I guess it's called Orpheus. I didn't see that in there either. But he's showing some footage right here of Gods and Monsters, which, if you did not know, is an Ubisoft game that was delayed a while ago. Ubisoft made a bunch of delays because they said that they wanted to make sure that they were putting out good quality content. Well, it looks like maybe there's something coming up soon, or maybe they just clicked the wrong button. Like I said, it looks pretty early days, kind of buggy from what I've read. But he's not the only one that has access to this. Other people are sharing screenshots as well. But anyway, Eddie Gomez, nice catch, dude. That's very, very interesting. All right, before we get out of here, do us the favor. Click on all the YouTube things, help people out, or help us out, and let people know that this is the kind of content that you want to see. If YouTube thinks that you like this stuff, then they're going to recommend it to other people. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys on Sunday. Bye-bye.